Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the J Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Nowakowski, and welcome to today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, reap the shirt. Baseball isn't boring. I stand by that for sure. Baseball is not boring. And so we're going to talk some baseball today, obviously. We're going to do some baseball and some NFL talk. Tomorrow I'm going to have an episode out that's going to be on the NBA playoffs, giving you the updates, breaking down the series, talking about all this and that. That'll be, I'll be recording that tomorrow, so that'll probably be out on Sunday. But yeah, segue, baseball isn't boring. One of the craziest plays I have ever seen on a baseball field happened yesterday with Javi Baez and the Chicago Cubs. If you haven't seen it already, I'm gonna screen share it so that on my YouTube audience you can see it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, no worries. I'm gonna try to do my best to explain it after we watch it here. So let me screen share this to you. Here we go. All right, here we go. So here's the play. This happened yesterday in the Pirates-Cubs game.
Hits it on the ground to third. Gonzalez. Oh my goodness! Wow! You gotta be kidding me! You've gotta be kidding me! Stole a run! You have gotta be kidding me! Javi Baez. Keep going! Go! Go! Think you're invincible! El Mago indeed. That is unbelievable. That is incredible.
Yeah. Incredible is the best word to describe that right there. So for my YouTube audience, you saw the play, you saw it all happen. For you listening on Spotify or Apple, I'm gonna do my best to explain it. So Cubs were up 1-0. It was an 0-2 count with 2 outs. Keep this in mind. There are 2 outs with the guy on second for the Cubs. Baez hits a ground ball to third base. The third baseman throws it to first base. Baez is going to be out by a mile. And so Baez starts running back towards home. And the first baseman starts to chase him back to home. And as he does that, the player that went to second rounds third for home. And the first baseman throws the ball late to the catcher, and the runner from second scores from home. But then Baez now starts running back to first where the person who was supposed to be there wasn't. And then there was a bad throw, and Baez in the end gets to second base. Now, that was the most insane, crazy play I've ever seen in my life. With that said, there were 2 outs. There was an easy solution here. You let him run backwards, and you step on the base. You step on the base, and the inning's over. You didn't need to go and chase him. Yeah, as soon as he started running backwards, you turn around and you touch the base. That's it. That's all you got to do. You touch the base. So, it was a brain fart by the first baseman for doing that. Then he's going to throw it late, allowing the run to score. And also, the second baseman should have been covering first. He wasn't, and that turned into an issue because the throw was late and bad, and it allowed Baez to get all the way to second base. But yeah, first brain fart on the first baseman, and then the second baseman probably should have been there to cover. But that was the most insane, crazy play I've ever seen in a long time. Like, absolutely crazy and weird play. That's all I can. Unbelievable. That's the word I'll use to describe it. Is unbelievable. But yeah, I just and then after the game, the Pirates manager said, I mean, he is like, well, he needs to know what he's doing out there, but that's my fault. No, and then it's not your fault. First of all, that's the first baseman's fault. Like, that from Little League, you got to know how many outs there are, and even if there wasn't 2 outs, just step on the base, and he's out. And then he said, he was like, yeah, the base hasn't moved in like 170 years or whatever. He like threw his first baseman under the bus, but then he said it was his fault, which was kind of confusing and weird, but hey, whatever. But yeah, I just want to share that because that was the craziest thing I've seen ever. Um, so that's what I wanted to lead off with baseball news. Next thing I do want to get into, it did happen a little while ago, and I just haven't really gotten a chance to record on it and talk about it. And I just want to get my thoughts out there, let you know where I stand on this. So, a few weeks ago, there were no hitters on back-to-back days. Wade Miley of the Cincinnati Reds. The next day, Corey Kluber of the New York Yankees. Both threw no hitters. Now, there have been 7, if we're not counting Madison Bumgarner's 7-inning no-hitter, which is an unofficial no-hitter. There have been 7 no-hitters this year. The date is Friday, May 28th, and there have been 7 no-hitters this year. You know what the modern day record is for no-hitters in a season? 8. 8. And then the all-time record, which was set in like 1908 or something like that, is 9. That is going to be shattered. I am guessing there will be at least 10 no-hitters this year. I will go on record and say that. There will be at least 10 no-hitters this year. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. So, yeah. Absolutely crazy. I just want to talk about it because the MLB did say before the season started they deadened the ball. And in the report that they said, they deadened the ball, it's only supposed to affect the ball by 1 to 2 feet. But I don't think they took into account everything. And first of all, it's more than 1 to 2 feet. If you've been watching baseball this year, there have been a lot of hard hit balls that are routine fly balls, which, I mean, I've seen a lot of baseballs hit smack square in the bat and there's a routine fly out. And it's just weird. And I understand they want to limit the home runs and maybe make it a base hit kind of thing. But with pitchers who throw this fast nowadays, it's such an advantage. And when I said they didn't take everything into account, they didn't. I don't know if they took into account the movement pitches have. It seems like because pitchers now their pitches move, and I mean there are pitchers that their pitches already move, but now like everybody's fastball moves like well. So I don't think the MLB took into account all of these factors when they did this. I don't think they expected it to be as many no-hitters as we've seen. I mean, we had one in a 60-game season last year. We had one no-hitter by Lucas Giolito. We haven't even, have we played 60 games? Hang on. Before I just go on and say this, I want to make sure, I want to see how many games have been played this year. I mean, whatever it is, it's still the Dodgers have played. The Dodgers have played. They're playing their 51st game right now. They've just barely played 50. And so you'll say, okay, so some teams have played probably between 47 and 52 or 53. 47 and 53 basically is what we'll call it. And there have been 7 no-hitters. Absolutely crazy. I'm not saying no-hitters aren't good for baseball. I don't want to come off by saying that because I think they are. I think no-hitters in perfect games are special in baseball. But just when they happen so frequently, it makes them less special. And that's just my opinion. It makes them just a little less special because, when you have 10 to 12 no-hitters in a season, you go, well, yeah, everyone was throwing, a lot of guys threw no-hitters, When you had Lucas Giolito through his one last year, that was special because it was the only one. And I don't want to take away from the pitchers and say, well, there's 6 other, there's been 7 no-hitters and we're not even in June yet. But you got to think about it like, come on. I mean, it's just, it doesn't, a perfect game. Now that's different because that's perfect. No hitters and perfect games are very different. Very different, in my opinion. And we can agree to disagree. If you don't agree, that's totally okay. But perfect games and no-hitters are completely different in my book. Perfect game is 27 up, 27 down, 0 mistakes by you or your defense. No-hitter, you may have walked 1 or 2 guys, or or defense had an error, you hit someone. That happens. And no-hitters are still great accomplishments. But, when they're happening as often as they are, how special are they? I don't want it where it's, every week there's another no hitter. I don't want that. I don't think baseball wants. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. And I'm not saying I need to be at a game and see a slugfest. I don't mind seeing a dominant pitching duel, but I mean, every other day I get a notification from MLB, no hitter watch. Someone's throwing a no through 7. Like, whoa! Like, it's every other day someone's close to throwing a no hitter. And I just wanted to say my thoughts on that. But congrats to Wade Miley and Corey Kluber. I know Corey Kluber actually got injured and he's going to be out for a little while. But I just want to talk on that real quick and, get my thoughts out on that. But next thing I want to talk to, I actually got a question from George Martin himself. So George, if you're listening, I know we texted about it, but and you told me, hey, this is something you should answer on your pod, and I'm going to. So George asked me, the question is, how many all-star pitchers will the Dodgers have? Or, okay, let me make sure it's right. I don't know if he's talking just starters or bullpen too. Let me get the exact text message up real quick because I just want to make sure I get it right before I go and answer it. How many Dodger pitchers will be all-stars? Okay, Dodger pitchers. So I'm taking into account bullpen and starters. So that changes my answer because I had my answer for starters. So, man, that's tough because you got to look at this Dodgers rotation. I mean, 4 of them have been outstanding. Kershaw's been great. Bauer's been great. Buehler's been great. And Urias has been amazing. And then the 5th spot's been, it was May who was pitching amazing. He's out for the year. It's kind of just been like a bullpen kind of day at that point for the 5th guy. And then you got to look at the bullpen. Now, the bullpen hasn't been great, but Kenley Jansen has been amazing. He looks back to 2016 Kenley Jansen. Man, this is a good question. This is a really good question. Okay. So I'm just going to look at Dodgers. Okay. Wow. Okay. So Urias is, he's 7-1 with a 3.03 ERA. Kershaw, 7-3, 2.94 ERA. Bauer, 5-3, 2.07 ERA. Buehler, 3-0, 2.66 ERA. Oh, okay. Bauer, all-star. I think Buehler, all-star. Kershaw, all-star. I think Urias gets snubbed. I think he's an all-star, but I'm going to be realistic here because I'm just going to be realistic here. Personally, I think Urias is an all-star, but I don't think he will get an all-star. So I think it's going to be 3 starters, and then you're going to throw in Jansen out of the bullpen, who is this year, he has owned one with a 1.25 ERA, and he has a 0 ERA in the month of May. 0 ERA in the month of May. He has been absolutely dominating. Yeah, just absolutely great stuff from Jansen. And yeah, he's been excellent. So he should be an all-star as long as he keeps this up. So I'm going to go with 4. George, thank you for that question. I'm glad I got to talk about that. But yeah, it's tough. I think you could see 5. I don't know if 5 pitchers will get in for the Dodgers though. That's a lot. But I think Bauer, Buehler, Kershaw, and then Jansen out of the bullpen. I think we're going to have 4 for the Dodgers. But thank you for the question, George. So also Dodgers, they won 13 out of their last 15, including last weekend sweeping the Giants. They're 4-0 against the Giants this year. They're playing their 5th game right now. By the time the podcast is up, the 5th game will be over. And currently it's tied in the 8th inning as I'm recording this. So, but as I'm recording, Dodgers are 4-0 against the Giants. They're a half game out of first place from the Padres. Whoop, sorry, my phone there. So before we get into the NFL, and I just got one thing to talk about there. Well, 2 things, I guess. I don't know. One thing. I will, let's do a standings update and let's look at the guys who are playing good this season. So a standings update, let's start in the National League West, where the Padres currently have a half-game lead over the Dodgers. A game behind the Dodgers in 3rd place of that division is the San Francisco Giants. All the way at 19-32 is the Colorado Rockies, and bringing up the rear, the Arizona Diamondbacks at 18-33. In the NL East with the 24-20 record, the New York Mets are in 1st place. 2.5 games behind them are the under 500, 25-26 Phillies, who are tied with the 24-25 Braves for 2nd place. 24-27 Marlins are in 4th, and last place, the Washington Nationals with a record of 21-25. In the NL Central, it is a tie between the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals, both a 28-22 record. 3 games behind them at 500 is the Brewers, 25-25 on the year. There's some more MLB stuff I'll talk about because I had the Brewers. I remembered that. The 22-27 Reds, 5th place, 4th place, 5.5 back out of 1st, and the Pirates in last at 18-31. That's how the NL looks right now. In the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays are currently in 1st place with a 32-20 record, but a half game behind them is the Boston Red Sox. 2.5 behind Tampa is the 29-22 New York Yankees. 5 games out of 1st, my Toronto Blue Jays, well, 2nd favorite team, Toronto Blue Jays, they're 26-24. And last place, the Baltimore Orioles, they're 17-33. Sorry there. Too much talking, I guess. In the AL Central, it's the Chicago White Sox. Sorry, Costa. Chicago White Sox with the 29-20 record in 1st place. 2 games behind them is the Cleveland Indians, followed by the Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins, and Detroit Tigers. My Twins pick looks awful. They are 20-30, and I said they would win the AL. And in the AL West, we have the Oakland A's with a 31-22 record in 1st place. 2 games behind them is the Houston Astros at 27-22. The Seattle Mariners, they're 24-27. The Angels, 22-29, 8 games out of 1st. And in last place, the Texas Rangers, they're 22-30. So there is a standings update for you. Next, some league leaders. We are, a few months into the season now. And the number 1 and number 2 batting averages belong to players on the same team. I'll give you guys 10 seconds to put a guess in your head. Who is leading the MLB in average and they play for the same team? Do 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 dot da 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 da. What's your guess? The Cincinnati Reds? Nick Castellanos batting .358. Jesse Winker batting .349. 1-2. Yermin Mercedes batting .340 and 3rd. And that rounds out the top 3 in batting averages. In home runs, we have a tie between Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Adolis Garcia. This guy came out of nowhere for the Texas Rangers. They both have 16 home runs with Ohtani and Acuna right behind him with 15. And not too far off, you got Tatis and Devers at 14. But my boy, Vladdy Jr., tied for the league lead in home runs, baby. If you think he's overrated, you're stupid because he's not overrated. That's for sure. But leading the MLB in RBIs is Rafael Devers with 43, with Trey Mancini at 42, followed by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Adolis Garcia again. But yeah, Trey Mancini, an absolute amazing story. Was diagnosed with leukemia last year, missed all last season, became cancer-free, put in the work, and now second in the MLB in RBIs right now on almost into June here, which is super awesome. A stat that doesn't get enough love, the stolen base. I give it some love, though. Whit Merrifield leading the MLB with 14. Tatis not far behind with 12 stolen bases. So those are the big hitting things. Max Muncy leads the MLB in walks with 43. And he also leads it in on-base percentage at 447. But guess who's second in on-base percentage? That's right, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 440. Some pitching leaders. Let's take a look at the pitching leaders. ERA, no one's surprised. Jacob deGrom, 0.80 ERA, followed by Brandon Woodruff, 1.41. And in third, Kevin Gausman of the Giants with a 1.53 ERA. Jack Flaherty, though, leads the MLB in wins. He's the only one with 8 wins. But right behind is Clayton Kershaw and Aaron Savale. And and relief pitcher Yasmero Petit and Julio Urias. They all have 7 wins. And that are your win leaders. Your strikeout leader so far, the only one to hit the century mark on the season, is Mr. Shane Bieber himself, 110 strikeouts. Next closest is Tyler Glasnow with 98. Fourth place on that list is Trevor Bauer, by the way. But saves, it's going to be Mark Melancon of the San Diego Padres. He's got 17 saves on the season. And he's been really good this year. So those are the big ones. And pitching and hitting, some MLB leaders. Now the big news I did want to talk to you guys about was the trade that went down between the Brewers and the Rays last week, I believe. Willy Adames was traded, shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. It was a 4-player deal. The Rays traded shortstop Willy Adames and right-handed pitcher Trevor Richards to the Brewers in exchange for 2 relievers, J.P. Ferenstein and Drew Rasmussen. So that was the trade that went down. I believe the Brewers had a shortstop who got injured. So they needed someone. Willy Adames, still a young guy, talented. I like him a lot, but the Rays have Wander Franco. He's not being called up just yet, but it's going to be happening soon. So get ready for that. But that's really all that's been going on in the MLB lately. I just want to give a quick update because I know I haven't talked about it in a while. But the next news, this is coming from the NFL, and it is not Aaron Rodgers news. It is different player trade rumor. So this happened on live TV, Undisputed, Skip and Shannon. He was Shannon called Julio Jones, and this is what was said on national TV. Here's what was said on the telephone. So I'm just gonna do an audio so you can all just listen.
You watching, Julio?
Really hope he answers here.
Julio, have the guts to pick up the phone.
What's happening?
Yeah.
All right.
Julio. Hold on. Let me put you on. Can you hear me? I got you. This your favorite uncle. What's going on, bro? Man, nothing much. Trying to go meet up with my brother. What's happening with you? Man, look. You want to go to the Cowboys, Julio? Or you want to stay in Atlanta? Oh, man, I'm out of there, man. You out of there?
He's out of there.
Are you going to... Ideally, where would you like to go? Right now, I want to win. Okay. We don't go to Dallas. If you go, you ain't winning in Dallas, Julio. Man, listen, come on, man. You already know I know. Okay.
Can you remind him we're on television right now?
So that was said on live TV. And after the host, she was like, can you remind him we're on live television? I don't think the rumor is Julio wasn't aware he was on live TV, which has caused an issue between Fox and the Falcons. They feel like, okay, well, now we have no trade bait. The trade value is less because everybody knows because this was said, and Julio was unaware of it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It did seem like he didn't know he was on live TV, but Shannon he asked him, do you want to play for the Cowboys? Because he was seen wearing a Cowboys t-shirt. He said, or do you want to stay in Atlanta? And he said, oh no, I'm out of there, bro. And then he said, I want to go somewhere where I can win. Okay. So, and now talks have ramped up to the point where Atlanta says they have had multiple teams offer a first-round draft pick, and that a trade could go down after June 1st, which, we could see with Aaron Rodgers as well. So, very interesting. I knew Julio was unhappy, and there have been talks of it, but I did not expect this to happen this offseason. I really didn't. I was expecting this to happen next offseason, was when he was going to get traded. But it seems like it's going to be this offseason. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be this offseason for Julio. And I'm going to give you three teams that I think are in this race. First is the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe they are in this. Getting Justin Herbert, a young, talented quarterback, another good threat, a deep, a great hands guy. He's 32, big contract, but they have the cap space. They can do it. And, pairing him with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who's injury prone. You lost Hunter Henry this offseason. You brought in Jared Cook as well. I think that would be absolutely insane. That'd be an insane offense on the Chargers with Herbert, Julio, Keenan, Williams when he's healthy, and Jared Cook. Absolutely insane. Second team, I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans. AJ Brown. Sorry, I'm thinking of AJ Green. I was like, well, AJ Brown has been hardcore recruiting him to the Titans. Instagram posts, TikTok videos, all these things he's doing to try and get Julio to come to Tennessee. And that would be really good. I mean, you have Derrick Henry, the best running back right now, in my opinion. I know, Dalvin Cook's too. Don't worry, Dalvin Cook's too. But best running back, Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill, a good quarterback. Then you have A.J. Brown, and then you're going to add in Julio Jones. Get out of here with that. That offense would be insane. That's sicko mode right there. That's sicko mode right there with that offense. That would be really fun to see. And the third, New England? No. Okay, this is what makes me think it's not Green Bay and it's not New England. They don't like trading first-round picks. And if Atlanta is saying we're getting we already have offers of first-round picks, I don't think either of those teams have offered that. And so I'm thinking, okay, who else? I want to say the Patriots, but they're always on everybody. And I don't think he makes them a winning team, even if you put Julio on that team. Like they're not beating the Bills. Miami, they're probably gonna split games. So I don't see him wanting to go there for the winning purpose. Green Bay would make sense, but Green Bay never trades for wide receivers. They just like to screw Aaron Rodgers, basically. So this is my third team, Indianapolis Colts. I'll throw that one out there. I don't think they want to trade him in the conference, so bring him to the AFC. I just named you 3 AFC teams. And you have T.Y. Hilton, who's getting old and seemed to regress last year. You got Pittman. He's a great receiver, had a great year. I believe he still got Eric Ebron, I think. I think he got a good tight end. You get Carson Wentz, Jonathan Taylor. You got a good team. Put Julio with that offense. I really think that would be a good team right there. That's a good team right there. Putting him on there. on the Colts. I mean, just get that roster real quick because I just want to make sure I got the tight end right. Sorry for the yawning, guys. I don't even know why I'm tired. I'm recording earlier than normal. Yeah, and then they drafted Kwity Paye. I'm not seeing. Let me see that tight end. No, he's not the starting tight end. Jack Doyle is Doyle. I think it's Doyle. I'm trying to see if there's any others. Wide receiver, defensive tackle. No. Yeah, okay. Jack Doyle. Good, decent tight end. Nothing special, but decent. Put Julio on that team. That's a great team with him and Pittman. That'd be Michael Pittman Jr. That's a great team right there. So yeah, those are 3 teams I think Julio Jones could possibly be traded to. Possibly. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Talk about those rumors. But make things spicy. See some June 1st trades. Does Rodgers get traded? Does he not show up for anything? OTAs started this past week. Very exciting. And but yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update on some MLB and NFL news. Like I said, tomorrow I'm recording an episode for recapping the NBA playoffs so far and talking about that. And I am very excited. Next week, I have a very special guest coming on. That episode will probably be out either Wednesday night or Thursday morning. But super excited to talk to my guest about that. So I'm going to leave you guys wondering who it is until then. But until next time, this has been... Oh, before that, be sure if you like this on YouTube, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, comment, talk to me, ask me more questions. Thank you, George, for that question. I'm always willing to answer questions. I love doing that. So, drop a comment down below on YouTube. Or if you're on Instagram, comment, send me a DM if you want. If you got my phone number, you can text me. And Spotify, hit the follow button. Apple Music, hit the follow, subscribe, rate me 5 stars. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's J_sports_podcast. I have daily sports questions. I do giveaways sometimes, have some fun things I do. I did a fantasy football league where the winner got a jersey and a championship ring. I did March Madness, and, I'm going to be doing more of that and stuff coming up in the future. But until next time, this has been Joshua Nowakowski of the J Sports Podcast.